and taken away by boat. And that frightened me because I am told, I've never done it, but like Lagos to Port Harcourt by boat is just about 4 hours. It's not as long as it seems when you go on land. But a lot is being done. Again, when things like this happen, you look at the person's, his profile. Being an AVM, we expect all the forces to come together and make sure that they get him rescued. Then there's another one of the pastor who was robbed at the gate of his house. I mean, what all this says and what all this tells us is that we have to be absolutely careful. Absolutely. I can tell you now, you're not likely to find me in some big event or whatever. You need to be because I'm exposed. You need to be very, very careful. I'm going to cancel a lot of my engagements now, and I think you should do so likewise. What I'm going to do for you, the audience, is on Saturday, I'm going to see if I can get, during the discourse here at 9 o'clock, see if I can get some security experts to we can't get tired of hearing tips. And don't forget that the tips that you heard a month ago might not totally be relevant now. But the greatest security, especially again for the elite, is for you to live a life of moderation. Remember that Bola Ige was the Attorney General of this country when he was, and all his security detail, as much as they were, all of them went to eat at the same time. That should tell you something. So this idea of having Mopol with guns and whatever following you around, if I were you, I'd think twice about it. In fact, that is the potential. Okay, let's look at it. If a gang of 10 men with what do you call this automatic weapon? What's it called now?
Which one now?
The famous one, AK-47, show up. Do you think the Mopol will take a bullet for you? Of course not. He won't take a bullet for you, and then that means you become a source of attraction. We'll see if we can get something together on Saturday for you. I tried my usual man this morning, but his phone was off. I'm sure he knows a lot of people will be phoning him. But let's all be very, very careful. Let's be a brother's keeper in the neighborhood, because the brother you keep today might be the same brother who will save you tomorrow. And then this idea of living in isolation, we need to look at it. Make sure you have landlords meetings, occupants meetings, putting security in your areas. Try and avoid, I repeat one more time, for reasons of COVID and for reasons of security, try and avoid public outings, at least for now. Okay, for now, try and avoid public outings. And you need, if I try and avoid any outing, really, once you can leave your house to the safety of where you're going to earn your day's pay, when you get back in, slot in the movie and go to bed. This is not the time to, because I remember one or two kidnappers who said that they even tail people from nightclubs. This was about 3 years ago. The big boy carried the big car, go to the nightclub. As soon as you're leaving, somebody is telling you. You need to be absolutely careful. I wish these victims are found and hopefully the kidnappers brought to book. But this, in all sincerity, is a new armed robbery. And nobody seems to be immune. No area seems to be immune. Right. Somebody we heard, Lekki was kidnapped along Lekki 1.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Now let's take this other story here that says President Buhari grants operating license to 159 new radio and TV stations. That story says that President Muhammadu Buhari has granted operating license to 159 companies, communities, and institutions of higher learning to operate radio and television stations. Now, this is coming at a time the federal government had been calling on the press to self-regulate to help guard against the several incidents of fake news.
Yeah, I mean, okay, this is a wise thing to do. It's better for you to register stations very quickly, as many as you can, than to let them go to the social media and set up. You can set up a radio station in the social media, an online station, in less than 10 minutes. I don't know if people know that. You can set up a radio station. I have one. I just kept it somewhere. I set it up, have a small mini studio somewhere. As my retirement plan later when Tiba Gun staircase. I have one there. I mean, so the government, I'm sure, is wise enough. It's better to bring people in under a bit of some regulation than to allow them run to the social media and set up online stations without any control whatsoever. So I'm glad the government has done this. Now the NBC too has to be very, very careful. The don't discourage people. Sometimes they behave so much like a senior prefect, backing at you, backing down orders, and so on and so forth. It's not going to go on like that forever.
Right.
It's not going to go on like that. We need to tell ourselves some home truths. They need to. I've lived in other countries and whatever.
Yeah.
You don't have the regulators backing down at you, left, right, every word you use, every whatever you do. Like Sheriff said, the press too should pick up the responsibility of self-regulating, so that the NBC has an easier job. What is most important, government always has these fears that, there's some hidden agenda behind what journalists are doing. But I can tell you, close to 60% of the problem that practitioners have with government is because nobody collaborates with you. I've been doing this, talking to Lagos for 8 or 9 years now. I've only been to one briefing, and that briefing turned out to be like a press conference. Nobody has ever called me aside to say that, Jimmy, this is the story behind this. Because sometimes government finds itself in a very difficult position where what we see is not what really is. But constant dialogue is key, rather than coming at everybody with a big hammer. It's very, very necessary for us to know that. I'm glad they've licensed these radios. They should license as many as they can, or else everybody will run to the social media. And I tell you what, the day you have a fast internet, cheap internet, then these things won't matter anymore. You don't want to imagine. I also, apart from listening to Nigeria Info for obvious reasons, the other radio stations I listen to, they're online. So, there we are. But what it also means is that, Sheriff, for our boys.
It's a lot of work, yes.
135 stations. It also means competition.
Yes.
So very soon we'll know the boys from the men.
Yeah.
Yes, it also means competition. Very soon we'll know the boys.
It means employment opportunities. It means competition. It means poverty eradication. It means so many things.
What is poverty eradication?
People that are being in poverty can get a good job and earn a living.
The radio stations, I hope, those who are setting them up, I hope they know what it's capital intensive, in the sense that, don't let me let you into the secrets of the trade.
Okay.
If you want to employ me as a consultant, I'll send you my mail.
Oh, that's good.
My manager is here.
That's me, Abi.
Yeah, you'll be a manager.
Okay. Let's go pick up the Punch. Page 20 of the Punch says is an editorial. Killing of police officer by Okada riders. That's the editorial.
Yeah, and I'm glad the Punch got this. Like I said last week when the issue came up, we saw this coming. And this, if care is not taken, could be the tip of the iceberg. Because what worried me so much, I was worried that the gentleman was killed. It says here that he was killed whilst he was trying to make peace. Okay? He was killed whilst he was trying to make peace. But the gory manner is a reflection of the mind of those who killed him. He was killed with a cutlass. I saw the photographs. He killed in a very gory manner that totally unexpected of any human being. I can understand. Not that when I say I can understand, let me take that back. But I can. If he had been shot, I would then say, okay, fine, they had ammunition and so on. But he was killed with a cutlass. And he says the man's name is Abonde, and he was about to retire from the police. And he said that he was trying to make peace. That's the irony between the police and the motorbike, and then this motorbike, whatever, attacked him and cut him with a cutlass right on the head. The Punch lays part of the blame on the fact that, the Lagos State government has been so lax from the time of Ambode in enforcing the law. You've emboldened so many people. Listen to what they say. They say, so far, Sanwo-Olu has glossed over enforcement. Unwisely, the two governors after Fashola have allowed these lawless riders to derail the state's aspiration to attain a smart megacity status by shying away from consistent, strict law enforcement. Have you been saying this over and over again. This is the main reason why Abonde died a cruel death in the hand of riders. The efficacy of the law is in its enforcement. It's not by foot stamping, it's not by pointing fingers. It's in enforcement. Okay? And it says, a statute that is not enforced is useless. Using the dastardly killing of Abonde as a turning point, Sanwo-Olu can make a huge difference. Apart from getting justice for the deceased, he should redouble efforts to ensure full implementation of the traffic law. In fact, if you know that there is no way you can enforce a law, you better just wipe it off the books, rather than having a law that is unenforceable. Okay? But it says, to succeed, he must shun political considerations, remembering that he was elected to govern Lagos, not Nigeria as a whole. That sentence is loaded with meaning. It's loaded. It says that he was elected to govern Lagos, not Nigeria as a whole. This writer is... You see, the beauty of any write-up is what is not said but implied. That for me is, maybe because I'm a literary student, it is more in what is not said but implied. Let me repeat again. They say that to succeed, he must shun political considerations, remembering that he was elected to govern Lagos and he was not elected president, not Nigeria as a whole. And they say that besides, Okada riders pose a threat to the general peace of Lagos. To remove this threat, they must be regulated, just like taxi operations and other business activities are strictly regulated by the government. This is the way a modern society functions. Please find time to read this editorial. It's fantastic. I score it A1. Beautiful editorial.
On YouTube, Joy on YouTube says Okada riders are all over Ikeja now. I was shocked the same thing is happening in VI as well. Ayodeji says the Okadas ride one way freely around Lekki axis. They tell you to clear road. Time Bob is waiting. That's Ayodeji, and that's the fact. They don't just ride alone now. They now go one way freely, unimpeded.
No, they've always done that. They assemble where they want. For example, Western Avenue is supposed to be a no-go area. You find them under the constituting a nuisance under the stadium bridge. And we watch these things happen right from the time of Ambode had been warning. This is an army in waiting. Now the genie is out of the bottle. It's going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible.
I remember very well you always warned.
Even before Nigeria Info. I wasn't here during Ambode's time
you
now.
You always mentioned that.
That means you were listening to me in the other place.
No, I was always on
Why
air.
Why don't you want to admit that?
No, I'm sure I was always on air. No, I was always on air when you're on air.
The sheriff, admit.
I was always on air.
Okay.
But the truth must be said.
But
right?
Truth must be said. And I don't understand the governor's unwillingness and that of his predecessor Ambode. You want to look good in the eyes of the people. You only look. When Fashola, for example, wanted to stop street parties, it was part of our custom. How would you bury your dad and say you didn't block the road? But he took a bold step and stood by it. Now everybody is happier for it. Everybody is happier for it. When my dad died, we closed the whole of and for weeks we were talking about boys and what titini. That was the culture then. Yeah. People couldn't fathom that. But he stuck by his guns. And that's what we need from this new governor. But like this editorial said, him and his predecessor, I don't know. The leadership calls for a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And you must be ready to bite the bullet. You must be ready to bite the bullet. I'm looking forward to a governor who won't be thinking of a second term, or those who quote and unquote put him there. A governor who is confident. Who is confident that those who put him there, if they want the job, they can come and get it. You remember this guy called their bluff. And when it was said that he wouldn't go for a second term, we were the ones who rose and said, anywhere he goes, we go. But they don't come like that often. They come like a flash in the pan.
They don't come like that. And we have plenty and loads of comments on
what's imagine.
But let's move on to the Punch. This is a piece on the panorama page of the Punch. It's insane for governors living big, riding choice cars to say there is no money for pensioners. Ubani.
My intern kept asking me why I have so much whatever for pensioners, and I told her, I said, "Well, you're just 19 now. Very soon you'll be 91. Then you know what it's like. There's no safety net in this country." My good friend Ubani is asked, "Is it criminal for politicians to steadily receive their own severance packages?" He said, "No. To me, it is more than even a crime. It is clearly insanity. The issue of pension is about the welfare of the people. These are people who have put in their best when they were young. They have personal needs. They have children in school. Now they go a borrowing and begging, and nobody is in a financial position to help each other in this country. This culture of helping each other is something we need to look into. Unfortunately, we don't have an agency that takes care of things like this. I remember what was the name of that agency that the dribbler set up? It was called MAMSA also.
Mamsa.
I think it was Mamsa. I know he set up all kinds of agencies. Yes, but even though we criticized him then, we do need something like that now. We need to change the minds of our people. For example, we might not get to the story, but there's a story of one gentleman who was jailed, who was jailed for what do you call it? Jail for Yahoo, whatever it is. And he was being compared to Hush Puppy and said, "No, my own is very different. I use mine to help Invictus. I use mine to help my community and to whatever. You don't commit a crime to help your community." But I could sympathize with him because if you're a big shot in Nigeria, once you help your community, nobody's going to ask you questions where you got from. We need to do a rethink. This sense of entitlement that we have, we need some agency now. We need to rebuild Nigeria. We need to rebuild the country completely. I remember when people were going out in droves, there were these commercials about Andrew and stuff like that. Anyway, next story.
Next story. Straight. Page 8 of the Punch. Shiites clash with soldiers. Police in Abuja allege 8 members killed.
I wonder how many crises we have to face and solve on a daily basis. The leader of this sect was just released not too long ago. But apparently, they said that, I think part of their whatever is to take a walk from somewhere to somewhere and so on and so forth. Anyway, they went on that symbolic trek again yesterday. Now, a trek in a place like Abuja in these current times could be a security issue. We are not talking about people's rights. We're talking about the environment. In these times could be a security issue. We had something like that in the past and people got incensed. But the truth is, things are not normal. Things are not normal. That is no excuse for those who are killed. Please, let us get these things in proper perspective. The police should, part of what I think is that I read in a book about 15 years ago that the average African security personnel is, for example, afraid of the dark. They are not well trained. A lot of these killings you see are done out of panic. They are done out of panic. When you put a gun in a man's hand, you don't just teach him how not to point the front of the gun at himself or how to pull the trigger. You first of all train his mind. You make him confident. You don't see confidence like that. Maybe in members in the army, probably. But in the police and whatever, you don't see that confidence. And you can see how, I have, there's a video clip that went around, for example, in a fairly public place. One policeman had his gun by his side. Whatever, was going to smoke Indian hemp. The video has gone viral. I think I must have it on my...
You shared the video. I saw the video.
I shared the video. Saw it, yes. Ojoko, correct. He put his gun in between his thighs. And it was... So what will happen by the time he takes 1 or 2 puffs? Your guess is as good as mine. We don't have... For those who want to confront security forces in Nigeria, remember that when it comes to arms, a lot of them are not well suited to carry these weapons. They could have gone to some police college. They could have. Don't forget, the entry level of some of these security agencies has been compromised in the past years. It's not the best that you might find there. Don't forget that some of the people who joined these security forces, some of them are frustrated people, couldn't get what we call a proper job. So if you want to confront them, you need to be very, very careful. Now, I'm not making this an excuse. Those who don't have an expanded mind might think that Jimmy Disu is making excuses for these Shiites being killed. No, but you must know the country in which you live. You must know the country in which you live. And so they had the clash again, and it says here that 8 members were killed, unfortunately, which really and truly shouldn't have happened. But I'd also call on the Shiites to show some restraint. The times we're in at they're security prone, the security challenges. And therefore, some of the things we did before, we cannot do now, unfortunately. And it's not that I heard you this morning and somebody was talking about rights. No right is absolute. If an armed robber comes to your house and says, bring the pot of soup, I want to eat it, are you going to tell him that, how can he come? You'll be saying, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You ask him, I beg for me, do you want water? So,
no. You know, be saying it's my house. You don't have the right to come and eat my house.
You'll be praying that he doesn't even want to add rape to the menu. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me wash your hands. So let's all be careful. The times we're in, worldwide, the security challenges. But our security people now, they need to be up to task to handle these things in a more genteel, not gentle, in a more genteel manner and avoid these killings that we have. But then killings have also become some kind of propaganda.
Right.
Where in a lot of cases you hear killings, you don't see bodies. But that's a story for
another day. Indeed.
I don't want to go into the other one you discussed this morning.
Yes.
About some UK company. What was it all about?
It was
I didn't see it in the paper.
The experts that gave testimony yesterday at the Lagos hearing of the Lekito.
And then they said some UK company gave.
Yeah, they were the ones that the Lagos state government hired them.
Oh, I see. No wonder people were suspicious of their report.
Yes.
Would you write a report against the man who hires you?
I think that if you're a professional, it doesn't matter really. It's the same thing that governments all over the world do. They don't go and put up a committee from Netherlands to come and investigate an aberration in a government of US. They set up committee within the government.
No, you set up a committee, yes.
And the committee will do their job.
But this company who produced this report, who do they owe loyalty to?
I'm not aware of any loyalty anywhere.
No, they must have.
They don't even
you
operate
could say to
here.
themselves.
They could
But
what?
who hired them?
The state government. Lagos state government.
That's not to say that their report is not credible, but the man, if you look at the whole scenario and the skepticism of our people, nobody's going to be believing that report. I'm sorry, I'm not saying the report is not true.
Yeah.
But because of the way our minds work now, and because that's what happens when you set a bad precedent. It follows you all the way through. So I'm not surprised there was controversy about the report today, and I don't know. I would have my reservations.
I mean, there's
too.
huge disbelief. Actually, there's huge disbelief.
Yes.
Very few people believe this.
But you will remember here, you and I did the right thing. We said we wouldn't comment on these things until we see visible evidence, which we have not seen yet. Okay.
We must go now. We have to go.
Yeah.
Today is Diabumi.
Yeah.
And that's coming on 9.
We want to face Mrs. That theory.
Why do you?
It's been worrying me since. In fact, I spoke to her, Mrs. Fachano. I spoke to her yesterday, and I said that my good friend, what's his name again? I forgot his name. Is going to come in this morning. And first of all, we'll tackle the issue of thinking with one side of the brain. And then the funniest one is that if you want the man to take the door, you tell him to take the window.
And the guy want to prove that you can't tell me what.
It can't happen to me. If any woman tells me anything, say, Uncle Jimmy, sometimes when they want to fool you again, they put Uncle, say, Uncle Jimmy, baby, I consult me. First of all, rub my left pocket, then I read some Psalms and Kurusiu and Kurusiu and Akpo for there, and then move.
The three of them together. Okay, we have to go.
Oh my God, I'm having so much fun this morning.
Thank you so much for
coming.
Yes, you'll see you at 9. I'm Sheriff Quadry Monitor.
And I'm Jimi this morning.
They say if you want to go fast.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.